So opping in Valorant is easily one of the most powerful positions you can play in Valorant, and it's extremely powerful when you are going against it and when you are using it on your team. Now, the big problem I see with people that play against the operator is a lot of teams just don't know how to deal with it, and some teams just know how to deal with it very well. And there's a big rift between those two scenarios because a lot of players will use the operator very effectively to the point where they can't get shut down, and it makes it very difficult for you to actually find a way to actually deal with the fucking op. And I understand it's really goddamn annoying when there's an op just sitting here and your team just doesn't know how to deal with it, and they'll just peek out and they'll die one by one. Do not peek the operator one by one. This shit is so annoying. Stop doing this. Stop, for the love of God, doing this. This is one of the worst ways to play against an operator. If you are going to peek at all, if you're going to do it dry, you need to be peeking him and double swinging and making sure you don't line up. And what I mean by lining up is don't put yourself in a direct path so y'all are fucking dick to ass with each other and you both get shot with one bullet. That shit is so bad. You have to be very consciously aware that you do not line up with your teammate. Now, peeking an opper dry is already a bad idea. Now, there are a couple ways you can actually get by an opper, and there are a couple of ways that you can figure out if there's an op playing that angle. You can peek like this where you strafe out, and this one's a bit harder because it takes a little bit of time to actually get down, like how to actually do this. And I'm not going to explain it because I don't know how to do it. I just do it off of, like, you know, muscle memory. I've been doing this shit for so long, I know how to do it without actually explaining it. Now, shouldering, you can shoulder it out pretty effectively for the most part. But a lot of the times, if the opper is quick enough, he can hit you on the shoulder. But most of the times, the opper will not be able to react to a shoulder like this, and he will take a shot. What shouldering is basically just exposing part of your shoulder. Like right here, only my shoulder is really exposed. That's why it's called, you know, shouldering. So if you shoulder out a shot, you know there's an opper there, and your team can react accordingly. Let me actually explain how to properly shoulder. So basically, you want to come only about this far out, and you were using your A key to get this far, and then instantly you are stopping yourself with your D key and you're going back behind cover. This is a somewhat intermediate tactic, but it's very, very good once you actually get it down and learn how to use it. It's very good for intel, and it's very good for dealing with oppers and people holding angles with rifles. Now, you don't want to over shoulder. If you shoulder once or twice, that's enough. You don't want to go more, because then the opper will very easily be able to predict your shoulder, and he'll be able to take the shot and kill you. So avoid shouldering more than once or twice. You don't want to do that. That shit's bad. Now, what you can do to deal with an opper is you can throw a flash around the corner. You can use a breach stun. You can use a lot of utility. You can dash out with jet. Or you can use a smoke grenade, which is also a decent way to do things. If you were to smoke off this angle right here, the opper is basically forced to play in this angle right here, making it very difficult for him to actually get anything done. If he was to hold this angle, it is a potential way he could do it, but you could just walk out like this and he probably won't even be able to see you. Now, keep in mind, oppers will generally play around smokes pretty well. So be careful if you put a smoke down and you expect the opper to not be there, and be very careful about what angles are still open for the opper to take, and you want to be pre-aiming those angles. Now, make sure when you actually smoke off that angle, if you are like the only player alive and you don't have teammates to actually assist you, you could smoke deeper just to gain this control. Yes, you are smoking yourself off, but you are gaining that extra control to deal with the opper. I wouldn't really recommend smoking yourself off to deal with an opper. I would mainly recommend like using utilities such as flashes or smaller smokes that wouldn't last as long, like maybe a jet smoke to actually get through the angle. Brimstone is just kind of one of those examples I can give. So honestly, breach flashes are going to be one of the best ways you can actually deal with an opper at an angle like this. Now, once the opper gets flashed or smoked out, he's going to fall back to another more passive angle. That's almost what every good opper is going to do. If you're playing a bad opper, he might stick around in the angle. And I'm getting spammed on Discord. Holy shit. Anyways, as I was saying, you will encounter worse oppers that will kind of stick around once they get flashed, and they'll try and re-peek you. So be aware of that. And some oppers, some very smart oppers, will know how to time their peaks perfectly. So if they get flashed out, they could wait here and then they could swing back out. So be very careful. The possibility of them swinging back out is always going to be there. I'm just giving you some avenues of which you can actually take to approach dealing with an opper. Now, to get inside the head of an opper, is one of the first things you want to do. So to get inside the head of an awper is once he gets flashed out, he's most likely going to fall to a more passive angle like this, or he's going to fall all the way back to sight. So you need to be very aware that the awper is still going to be a very real threat that you have to deal with. So you need to keep pressuring him. And in some cases, if an awper gets stuck, it's very good for your team if an awper gets stuck at a certain angle. If an awper is playing very deep in here, and he misses this first shot and he doesn't kill any of your teammates, it's important that you and the team quickly follow up, and you need to swing him, double swing him, and take him down before he has the chance to actually get more done in the round. It's very important that you shut down his potential at the start of the round, if possible. If at all possible, you need to shut down the potential the op has to actually get picks and make plays. That's one of the biggest things with countering operas, is shutting down their potential and shutting down their windows of opportunity. Now, if operas are taking more aggressive, like one and done angles like this is very good for you, because if you have the opportunity to use like a sage slow or something here, if you sage slow this area and the awper is here, the only thing the awper can do is try and re-peek, like take shots and re-peek, or escape, and he won't be able to escape if you were looking at him. So if there is an awper caught in an angle like this where he only has one route of escape and you have that one route of escape potentially sealed off, it is very good to trap him in and try and kill him. Now another way you can deal with operas is you can use your utility, and if you expect that they're going to re-peek you, and re-peeking is literally just them going for another peek on an angle. So if you flash them out here and you know they're going to re-peek, so they go back here behind cover because they're flashed, so they re-peek back out. If you were to flash and instantly, and I mean instantly, post up on an angle like this, and you were just to wait for their re-peek, you could very easily catch them off guard. They might expect you to be in a position like this or like this, but you have the advantage knowing that they're going to peek out into your crosshair. Generally, it's best to do this when you have a teammate there to trade you, because if you go down, you have that teammate there ready to capitalize. So we've gone over double swinging, we've gone over getting him out with utility, and we've gone over baiting him with utility. Now the last thing is killing him with utility. And when you flash an awper and say he's in a very bad position, it's very important that if you believe the awper is in a bad position, it's very important that you actually get ready to capitalize on his mistake. So using utility is very important with your peek. If you peek him dry, he has a very easy kill. You can peek him dry, and that's where I bring in double swinging as being of the utmost importance when you're doing something like that. But swinging him with utility, even as a solo player, will work out in your favor a lot of the times. Because if you flash and you instantly peek, he is probably going to take a shot. So if I were to get flashed, posted up on this angle, I will almost instantly, after getting flashed, I'll wait like a half second, I'll take a shot, and then I'll fall away to a different angle. So be very careful when you swing with utility. A lot of players will just post up and they will wait out the flash, or they will go to a different, more unexpected angle. So peeking with utility can be very good. It's just very vital that you make sure you don't peek right after the flash, because a lot of operas will just wait for that flashbang and then they will shoot right after the shot when they are blind. And it comes down to a lot of timing for them. So when you're playing against good operas, just know that a lot of operas will do stuff like that. So when the opera is at a position like this and you don't have the utility to flush him out, it is very vital that if you are walking up sight and you are trying to kill this opera, it's very, very important that you are not peeking him one by one and you don't hesitate. Because if you hesitate, your teammates will die. It is one of the worst things you can do against an opera, is hesitation. Because that will get you killed, that will force you to get scared and peek him one by one, or even just fail completely and miserably. So you need to be very careful on not hesitating. So if there was an opera posted up right here, what you can do is have your teammates... You want your teammates to instantly be running up and trying to flush this opera out. Let's say there's a smoke down CT and it's just this opera on site, right? So you clear all this and you know this opera's here. You need to rush him down. You cannot stop and you cannot bide your time just waiting for the opera to peek you. Now what you can do if you want to, kind of play it a little bit safer, is you can have one of your teammates push up while you hold an angle. And that forces, if the opera actually decides to re-peek, you are holding the angle on him. And if you don't kill him, your teammate most likely will. And if he does peek, he will either kill you or your teammate, and one of you will be there to get the trade kill. So hesitation is killer in moments like this. You need to be ready to actually capitalize and get that awper out of there. And when there is an awper pinned down in a location like this, it's very important that if you have utility, you need to use it to actually flush him out and get him out of that angle. So that's all I wanted to go over. Somebody suggested this video go up, and I recommend, and I agree completely with that. This video is very important for the community, basically, because a lot of teams I play with, they just don't know how to deal with an awper. It's black and white. Either a team knows how to deal with the awper, or they just don't, and they get scared and they back off and they get fucking terrified of an awper. It's like, it's really simple. It's super easy to deal with if you have the right team and you have the right mindset going into it, and you're not fucking scared of this tiny ass awper that thinks he's good at the game because he can zoom in and click. Alright, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching this video. You know, if you want to dispute any of my claims, I invite you to do so in the comments. Goodbye.
Why frown when the sun goes down? If you wake in the morning to such nice sounds, when the nighttime creeps, well, your eyes might weep, but that's moonlight trying to find nice people. Why frown when the sun comes round, even if you feel shaky?